This is Tom, and welcome back to Bryn Mawr RC. Today, in our video, we're going to continue, as always, continue the building of the Land Rover Defender 90 CC01 chassis from Tamiya. Today, we're going to be working on the dampers, all dampers for the whole week, damper or shock absorbers. So we're going to pick up on step 19, and as you can see here, I have what I need already laid out. Pull the plastic pieces off the pick tree, and have cut down any sharp pieces that remain from that activity. And actually, I have more parts out here ready than just step 19. So let's go ahead and begin on 19, and we're going to start assembling the dampers. And we're going to put 2 of the red O-rings in the cap. I need to do that a little more carefully than I was. Actually, that was the wrong cap. I need this cap. Okay, 2 of the red O-rings in the bottom cap. 2 more here. I'm using one of the shock shafts or the damper shafts to help me line up the O-rings. Okay, and there's the 4th one. Okay, that's all the 2 red O-rings in the cap. Okay, so the next step is to take the damper cylinder and put on the cap that we just put the O-rings in. So can you see what I'm doing? Here we go. So what we're ultimately building here is a little vessel for the oil that will be in these shocks or dampers. So there's one complete. Again, these are rubber O-rings. That is going to help keep our damper or shock oil inside the canister. Just going to double check each one, nice and tight. Tight's tight enough, too tight's broken. Okay, there we go. Okay, moving on. So we have the cap on. Now we're going to put the damper shaft into the canister or the cylinder. So we're going to go in, go through the O-rings and out the bottom. There we go. And then I need to screw on the mounting bracket, and to do that I need a good grasp of this, but you want to be careful not to mar the shaft. And why that is this shaft is actually going to be going in and out of the shock, which will go into a little more, or the damper, which will go into a little more detail here when I get it a little more built here. Okay. Oops. Okay, so get it through the hole, put on this. Okay, so this is the end of step 19 for a single damper or shock. And how this works is, effectively think of this as a plunger inside of a canister. This canister is going to be full of silicone oil, and then there will be a cap placed on. So this will be a closed canister of oil. And what that oil does in this plunger is increases the amount of force required to move this in through the cylinder. And that's effectively going to damp the movement of the suspension on the car. In the notes section below the video, I'm going to link to a gentleman who does a very good job of explaining this. He does it way better than I could probably ever do it justice. But that is the general idea. So let's move on and do the other four. Fourth one. Just want to make sure these all look the same, pretty much the same height. Yeah, they're good. So let me just double check for step 19. We put the bottom cap on with the two O-rings. We put the shock shaft in through, black O-ring, and then the component that lets us attach it to the body, to the chassis. Yeah, that's it. So that's the end of step 19. Next, we'll continue still working with the dampers, step 20. Moving on to step 20, we're actually going to fill the dampers or the shocks with oil. And then place this rubber seal and the actual cap on. So let's begin. Again, we talked about this being a canister that's going to be full with oil. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. This part could be messy, so we need a Kleenex or towel. And so we fill it up, and then it has us, and I may have filled it too far, but it has us slowly raise the plunger. So I'm slowly raising the plunger inside, and then sucking it back down, and raise it back down. I gotta get a little closer. I think I need to put a little bit more. It's hard to say. And the silicone oil that I'm adding came with the kit, and it is from Tamiya. It's what they call the Tamiya yellow shock oil, which according to Tamiya is considered a soft oil. So this would be for off-roading. And its viscosity is measured in something called CST, which is related to but not the same as weight. Some manufacturers you'll see as measuring the viscosity of their oil as weight. And this is silicone oil. This is specifically made for RC shocks. And so just looking at my notes here, the CST, which is what the measurement is an international standard for measuring viscosity. The weight, W or WT, that you see from other manufacturers is not really an international standard. And depending on how the manufacturer defines weight, may be slightly different from one another. And just for example, the viscosity of water is about 1.003 CSTs. So you get a rough judge about how thick this is. Again, this Tamiya yellow that we're using is 400 CST versus water being 1 CST. So I put a little more oil in there. I'm going to go up and down with the shock one more time. You can see that I have it really full. Now I've probably overfilled it. So up and down. I think that we've probably have got all the air out of it. So we want no air pockets inside this fluid in this canister. So the next part might be a little messy. I'm going to grab my Kleenex here, and now we place on the little rubber cap. You can see a little spill there, and then we're going to screw on the cylinder cap. And can you see? Not very well. Okay, so I guess we didn't have too much spillage. Maybe we should have a little more spillage than that. Maybe I didn't fill it up enough. We'll see. Okay, and I'm just really tightening that down. And I think I'm as tight as I can get it. So you can see now here a fully assembled shock or damper. Remember when we put the shaft in, there was a plunger in there. And there you can see the dampening. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and quickly do the rest of the 4. Okay, there we have it. 4 dampers, or shock absorbers, if you will, oil-filled, complete, and ready to move on. I'm ready to place on the RC car. So that's the end of step 20. This is Tom with Bryn Mawr RC. Thank you for joining. Take care, be safe, and hope to see you next week on Bryn Mawr RC. Thank you. Bye.